Due to possible harmful extremist content, parental discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. The views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of the station, its affiliates, or advertisers. The use of the show is only allowed with the express written permission of the producer and the host. So get ready for 2 hours of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show starting right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, Wednesday night edition for March 11th, 2026. And boy, do we have a good one for you guys tonight. I guess we should start out with a couple of the big stories that are going on. The big one that jumps out to me is the whole Allahu Akbar bombing in New York City that went down in front of Gracie Mansion, the home of Zohran Madmani. And in essence, there was a YouTuber, organizer, I don't know what you want to call him, protester, Jake Lang, if I'm not mistaken, is his name, Barry?
I just popped in. I'm sorry, man. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Jake Lang, I think, is the guy's name that was protesting, leading the protest in New York. And it was, they brought a whole roasted pig out and did a bunch of stuff like that. Not like something I would necessarily want to be a part of, but I do support the cause if the cause is, hey, no more of these, 5 a.m. Calls to prayer across Manhattan and across, the boroughs. So, I mean, that would drive me nuts. If I lived down the street from something, they're doing that every morning at 5 a.m., I would go ballistic. I'd be at town hall pounding on the tables, But anyway, they're out there doing their thing. There's counter protesters, and all of a sudden a dude walks up. And it's funny because the best video they have of it, and you probably saw this one too, Barry, was this reporter who's on the ground. He's got a microphone. He's talking about how he's yelling, everyone is welcome here, you bigots, and, Muslims are religion of peace. And like literally right as he's saying this kind of stuff, a guy runs up behind him, yells Allahu Akbar, and throws a lit grenade of some sort. It had a fuse on it that was lit, a bomb, throws it over the guy's head, and then turn around and sprints away as fast as he can.
Right.
And the dude talking doesn't, he had to be able to smell the fuse, right? So you got that sense going. You've got the panic in the dude that just threw it. He's now 20 yards that way. You know what I mean? But no one there seemed to be all that concerned about it. It was very odd. Just very entitled that you don't really think it's possible that somebody's going to walk up and throw a bomb over your shoulder.
Yeah, it's very bizarre, man. And he was actually, at the time of the event, he was actually, defending all of the Islamic terrorists and criminal illegal aliens. That's what he was ranting in his bullhorn about. And
exactly.
You just can't make this stuff up. He's out there defending these very people, and then he attacks him and then throws a bomb over his shoulder all simultaneously. And it's like, it's like one of those things that it's like a picture perfect moment that becomes symbolic for, our situation where we're at. And we have these like every couple of months where we have these moments that sort of, the event paints a picture, a broader picture of literally the kind of lunacy that we're up against, right? And it's like they say, if a picture can paint a million words, sometimes this is what happened. This says more than just, a news report. And by the way, CNN said, don't worry about it. It's not Islamic terrorists. It's just two teenagers that just sort of lost their way.
Oh, it was a beautiful Sunday morning, unseasonably warm for New York.
There you go.
They painted this whole picture of just two teenagers, and then they were thrust into the situation that it'll change their lives now, and how tragic it is. And no. They were Islamic ISIS-inspired terrorists who were trying to kill people. If their plans had worked, if those bombs were made just slightly better, there would probably have been, I don't know, the first one was in a crowd of 100 people, 200 people were in the vicinity of that thing. I don't know how big it was. Nail bombs and a very, very volatile explosive chemical that is known to be used by ISIS, that is very synonymous with their attacks. So Then the guy turns around, starts running up the street a little bit, and lights and throws another one towards a bunch of cops before jumping out into the street, running out there and being tackled. So there was plenty of opportunity for him to kill a lot of people here. And fortunately, they didn't. Yeah, there were two of them. So I might be mistaken that it was the same guy. It was probably the other guy that threw the other one at the cops. But that's where we're at now. It's a war on America that is being sponsored again out of Iran. We talked about it before the show, Barry. The word has gone out from the IRGC, the Islamic Republic of Iran, saying, yeah, activate sleeper cells. Code 1, sleeper cells, go now. Everyone else, wait. But let's start this up. We're seeing attacks all over the place. The guy shot up that bar in Texas.
Right.
Another guy got pulled off of an airplane the other day for threatening to blow it up. I could go down the list, and there are a dozen of them in the last week. So this is picking up. It is happening, but I don't think it's the big one yet. You know what I mean? If they're going to plan something big, we will be talking about it for probably months on end if they get away with it. If they actually can pull another 9/11 per se, God forbid.
Yeah, and that bozo on the plane was going, Allah Akbar. Every time I hear, some Muslims say Allah Akbar, it sends a chill down my spine. I think, basically they're saying their God is greatest. It's like they're worshiping or praising God in some bizarre way. But when I think about how Christians worship God, I think about, them raising their hands in a church service and singing a hymn or something. This is not that, So anytime I hear Allah Akbar, I think about, guns going off and bombs blowing up. I don't know how that's giving their religion a very good. You'd think that the moderate Muslims would say, "Hey, this doesn't represent us," but I don't even hear that. I'm sure there's a few. Don't get me wrong, right? But maybe deep down inside, they're like, "I like the terrorist." I don't know. I don't because I don't know very many Muslims. The ones that I do know are actually pretty nice, but they're also a little different as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if you just were in Iran, if somebody, made a good dinner, Allahu Akbar, they just like, if you cross the road successfully, yay, Allahu Akbar, it's just, they yell it pretty much for everything. So, but we associate it more with the killing than with just it being a, average daily saying. But I don't know. It's an interesting situation now. Mamdani's wife has been getting some heat lately because she was apparently, like, on October 8th, liking a bunch of, pro-Hamas videos and posts on X regarding, saying, Israel deserved it, or it was a hoax, or all these other things. And they're making a stink about it. But the fact of the matter is, folks, this is what they voted for. This is nothing new. He never, he ran on this. When he ran for office, this was his platform. Yeah. Israel bad, Palestine good. And so, his wife reflected that on social media. Go figure. Right? It's not a scandal. It's what you voted for.
Mamdani won't condemn it, and he's supposed to be the mayor of inclusivity. Well, that's not very inclusive, man. If you're gonna, because it was straight out like not like possibly anti-Semitic. It was clearly like anti-Semitic stuff. Just hate stuff. You almost have to be inhuman to say the kind of things that she was saying in multiple posts, right? And he won't condemn it.
Yeah.
Now, he doesn't have to condemn his wife, but he should be able to say, well, I condemn that rhetoric, but he doesn't say anything, man, which just, if I was a Jew or even someone that likes Israel, I would not even want to be in New York City right now because, I would feel almost maybe somewhat scared for my life in a way.
Yeah, not welcome, dangerous. Sure. Mm-hmm. London, England's the same way now, right? I'm sure most Jews in England are walking on eggshells. They're not wearing their Star of David, is it, in the open?
Right.
You know what I mean? That used to be fine maybe back in the 90s. Today it's like, no way, you can't do it.
Well, it's kind of the same way with people that wear the cross. They get a lot of harassment from Islam and from the atheist left and the radical lunatic left. I can remember a friend of mine, this was like pre-shamdemic, he was at the subway and he had a cross on his around his neck. And some woman that was just eating a Subway sandwich, went up. She said, "Could you please take your cross off? That's offensive to me." He was like, "No, I'm not going to take the cross off." And, well, the sun's hitting it, and it's blinding my eyes. And he's like, "Well, move." So
maybe God's trying to talk to you, you know?
Yes, he was under conviction, deep conviction, man.
Yeah. You know, man, that reflection was God winking at you. He says he loves you.
Yeah, that makes him really mad. Whenever a Christian tells, the atheist or the LGBTQ that God or Jesus loves them, they lose their marbles. That's which is weird. You would think if they were up there preaching fire, brimstone, and hell, that's what would make them mad. No, if they literally say Jesus loves you, that's what seems to trigger them.
Yeah. Well, love is a very powerful emotion. And when you mix it in with hate, it sets people off and they lose their cool. So anyway, with regards to this bombing attempt, I don't know if there's a whole lot more to it than we can cover. Thank God that these things didn't go off. There would have been a lot of dead people, and it would have been a wake-up call for all these people in the news that are trying to report this. As like you said, like CNN and Dina Bash and a few other people have come out and said things that just make no sense. They're talking about it like it was the anti-Muslim marchers who were the ones causing the problem. Like their presence is what led to this. They can't be allowed to be there to some degree. That's kind of the vibe I get from it. And that's just crazy. It's upside down world. It's like in England where they arrest you see these images of these guys getting beat by Antifa there. They're one guy had a freedom shirt on, just, said freedom on the front, whatever. All of a sudden all these Antifa guys come up and start beating on him. So he starts booking it and he starts running towards a bunch of cops and the cops immediately arrest the guy.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
he's running to you for help and he's being beaten on the streets and you arrest him.
Yeah. That happens in the leftist hellscapes, right? The actual victim is now the criminal now. Exactly.
So they try to flip it like that and, paint the victims here. My Lord, he was almost assassinated. That's almost like it's a life-changing experience. And it's going to be reflected. He's going to be pissed and he's going to be out there 10 times harder from now on. And so that's what you create, You put people in these life and death situations. You raise the rhetoric to such incredible levels that, if you don't try to kill Donald Trump, then you're like, it's worse than not trying to kill Hitler. Would you kill baby Hitler?
I would encourage everybody to go look at the picture that was captured of this radical. He was a young man, terrorist, Islamic terrorist, and he's got that bomb in his hand. It's literally like they've got a freeze frame right over the guy's shoulder, and he looks completely insane and mad. That's not just a teenager, New Yorkian teenager that's lost his way. This is a madman. This is somebody who's filled with rage. And I would bet you money, man, we need to follow this up if it's possible. If this guy that was attacked by this Muslim terrorist, I bet you $100, man. I bet you $100 that he will defend that guy. He will defend the guy that attacked him and threw the bomb. You watch and wait and see, because they align themselves with these people, man. That's who they align themselves with is the criminals and the terrorists and the gangbangers. These people are, what has happened to these people? And you go look at these people at any of these protests that are, protesting Trump doing, his lawful duty, using ICE to round up the, criminal illegal aliens. They all look like they're completely either completely loony, kooky, or out of their mind. They look disheveled. They look, like they maybe have an IQ of 2 or 3. I don't know, man. That's who these protesters attract. These kind of people that are just like, I don't know, maybe belong in a mental institution like Trump talks about. Maybe we need to reopen the mental asylums again.
Yeah, we're not too far from it. Now, these guys as well were from wealthy families. You mentioned from New York. They were actually from Pennsylvania. And, they were both living in 6,000 square foot homes. respectively, which is pretty huge. I mean, that's a big house. So very wealthy, were born in America, so second generation, and they still somehow got caught up in this ISIS garbage,
Mm-hmm.
to this degree. So it says something for assimilation and how we need to do better with it, got to do better. But
You were right, though, in what CNN said. I got their short little quote from their X account that they have. It said, 2 Pennsylvania teenagers crossed into New York City Saturday morning for what could have been a normal day, enjoying the city during abnormally warm weather. So you were right. And yeah, I thought maybe they lived in New York or whatever, but yeah, whatever, Pennsylvania, New York, wherever they came from.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just silly how they try to paint this in such a way that it makes, it makes it sound like they're freedom fighters or something. When you realize, folks, this is ISIS. It's ISIS, man. That's who's promoting this and helping this and maybe funding it. Who knows, But enough of that. Let's go to Iran, because we got a lot of fun over there. And I will say, okay, we'll get through the war stuff. Yeah, we sunk their entire Navy, 50-some ships. Trump came out today and said the thing's basically over. We're way ahead of the 4-week timetable. And if that's true, and that's what turns out to be factual as we move forward, then more power to them. I'm happy that this is done, and let's move on. I don't want to see any more troops on the ground or any of that kind of crap. If we can kind of leave it as it is and get enough momentum in the country to take care of the rest, then great, fantastic. Maybe they can have freedom over there for once. Then there is the idea that maybe they were planting some mines in the waterways there to try to discourage any ships from going through. And Trump just basically said, look, if you're doing that, it's going to hurt harder than anything you've ever felt. I would also say that the new, the mullah or whatever, the top guy that they, the son of the previous one who just died, was apparently very well injured during some sort of an incident, collateral damage from a bomb, who knows. There are rumors that he's in critical condition, and no one has really seen him. They did bring out, though, a cardboard cutout of the guy to show to people, believe it or not. And that is just meme, comedy gold, They've got him, Donald Trump, opening this curtain behind the painting. I assume it's like the Declaration of Independence or something, but no, it's the mullah there in cardboard cutout, right? They had Marco Rubio with a cutout cardboard body sitting in his chair. All kinds of comedy gold. So look around for that stuff. It's good. But the real news I want to get to in Iran is the deal with the soccer team, the women's soccer team. They were playing in Australia, and they were given an option that they could either stay there or they could go back to Iran. And about, I guess, 6 or 7 of them, maybe one changed their mind, and I think a member of their staff as well, all have said yes so far. And it's interesting. You know what? One of the first things they did when they took their photos with the press, Barry? They took off their hijab.
Oh, nice.
They took off their head covering and just had a normal photo.
Right, which debunked old, leftist Islamic, American Islamic rhetoric, which says, oh, we don't do it because we have to. We do it because we want to. But the moment an area becomes freed where they don't have to do it, none of them do it, which tells you that it's not religious conviction. In fact, from what I've understood in Iran, a lot of the people that supposedly claim to be Muslim, like 40 to 50% of them are not. They just go pretend they are because they have to.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. Much less friction in life if you just kind of go along with it. And then you can truly believe whatever you want when you close your doors and go home. Right? But when you're outside, you kind of have to play by the game of the regime because, well, it's the regime. So, yeah, there's, I think, a large percentage. The question is it a majority? Is it 70% or is it 30% that just don't want to be a religious, country anymore, a caliphate, so to speak, a religious ruling by one leader who is the next closest thing to God on earth, and you have to listen to everything he says. There's no questioning it. Do you want to live under that system, or do you want more democracy? And if it's 70% or so of the people that want that, then this will be pretty quick and painless, and it won't take too long, But like, there's always going to be hardliners out there, and if they are a majority, then it's no good. If they're even controlling a lot of the powers, which they do now, they need to lose that, because then they can just beat you back into submission, which is how you got there in the first place. So I don't know, man. If they can beat this thing down, great. But I'm just happy that these, women aren't having to be captive anymore. Some of them went back fine. They probably will never go to another non-Muslim country to compete. You know what I mean? Or anyone in the world. In other words, Iran did just make an announcement today that their men's will not be competing in FIFA this year at the U.S. World Cup. Because the World Cup will be held in North America, Canada, USA, and Mexico will be hosting games. That I know, there might possibly be a few other countries thrown in there, but those are the main three venues. So they're not coming, which, obviously they can't. The only way you let them go here is if you've got them so under control that there's no way they would ever risk defecting. It would be it's a huge embarrassment to them. If people are defecting.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Get that. That's totally true, man. I think that a lot of them, even the ones that are Muslim, probably don't like the dictatorial regime,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I said, not every Muslim is a radical Muslim, but it just seems like to me that a lot of the Muslims that are moderate, they don't speak up enough. But I guess maybe it's fear. Maybe fear is the reason. But you'd think here in America they'd be free to do that, but maybe still fear is a big part of why they don't say anything. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving them more benefit of the doubt than they deserve, but I have nothing wrong with I don't know anybody that really has a problem with somebody that's a Muslim as long as they're, reasonable.
Yeah. Don't shove your laws down our throats, and we won't do the same. It's perfectly fine. Don't play your songs at 5 a.m. every single day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. every single day for the rest of my life. Thank you very much. Please stop doing that. That would be a really good start.
Well, a lot of it's authoritarianism, just like when they go out in the middle of the street and dominate in New York City and just stay there for praying for, I don't know, hours, right? And they don't do that in their country. That is a sign of saying we own this city. And if you doubt that, we played the clip last week or 2 weeks ago where that Muslim said that, yeah, we're taking over New York City. And the entire crowd that was in the middle of the street that had taken over the street chanted, yes, that's right. And they were happy about it.
Yep, that was in Times Square.
100%.
To a very large audience, too. Not some little tiny stage. I mean, he was talking to Times Square full of people,
Yep.
So, yeah, when they tell you what they're going to do, believe them.
Yeah.
It's all in there, man. It's all in there.
Oh, you can't say they lack conviction.
Mm-hmm.
They mean what they say.
You can't. Exactly. But I don't know. Texas is pushing back pretty good. It seems like in a lot of places in America, there's pushback and it's not going to be allowed. Obviously, New York, just another story. They want it. They welcome it. They want the call to prayer at 5 a.m. every day in every single square of that entire city. I want it at 1,000 decibels everywhere, top to bottom, everywhere. Every inch of that city should wake up at 5 a.m. every single day forever.
Metallica levels, right? Metallica concert levels.
No, call to prayer levels, dude. Have you ever heard how loud those are, man? No Metallica concert can compete against that.
There you go, man.
They're loud.
Maybe they bring in Metallica's guitarist and drummer just to sort of amp it up even more.
Sure, get a riff behind it. Switch it to English too, man. I know I read the lyrics out to that a few weeks ago, and they're come to prayer. It is your duty now to come and seek honor and wealth and our religion is the greatest, and God is the greatest, and prophet is the only. I'm sorry, Muhammad is the only prophet, and blessed be, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm paraphrasing it here, but it's, if they did it in English, people would be like, "Yo, that's what they're saying." Like, that's what you're waking up at 5 a.m. every day to play. That seems like if you was a Christian church doing it on full blast, saying Jesus is the only way at 5 a.m. Come out and pray. Jesus is the greatest. He's your only salvation. Yada yada yada. They would be up in arms. The left would go ballistic over that. Am I wrong?
Oh, I mean, these Muslims, these radical ones, they want a worldwide theocracy. It's just that simple, And Sharia law, worldwide theocracy, they rule, they reign, and they'll give you a chance to peacefully convert. But if you don't, then they can turn to violence. I've heard many of them say that's not off the table if you reject. In other words, you don't really have free will to decide whether or not you want to believe. Like in the Christian faith, it's all free will.
You can pay a tax. They always say you can pay the tax, and then you'll be left alone. But you'll be ostracized. You're still not one with the rest of society. And yeah, they want to take over the world, but so does Christianity. What religion, at the end of the day, doesn't think they're right and want for the whole world to live under their religion? Because look how peaceful it would be. But anyway, folks, we've got to go to break. This is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, and we will be right back after these messages.
All right, we're on radio break.
Nice.
Man, this is going quick. I blinked and it was like 25 after. Boxy in the kick chat, he says,
so,
I can say today I understand why they've been burning U.S. and Israeli flags during all these past 30 years. Oh. Okay. It meant something? Okay. Just not paraphrasing.
Time for a Betty Buzz sparkling lemon lime soda.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
That's a sponsorship plug. Where can we get it, Barry?
Cheapo Depot, man. That's where I got mine. Cheapo Depot.
Okay. That sounds a lot like the food and stuff.
I got about 5 cases for the price of about, half a case, because I know the guy real well. And a few cases were open. He goes, just take those with you. I'll just give you those. I'm like, no, please. Like, yeah, come on, man. I said, okay, if you insist. But they're actually really good, man. I mean, there's like 7 grams of sugar. So, I mean, it is somewhat sweet. It's not just water.
Yeah.
Thanks, Great Conspiracy, for those shout-outs in the Kick Chat. Appreciate you. And I'm sure that you're restreaming us as well. Appreciate that also.
He's restraining us?
Oh, yeah.
How do you restrain us? No way can we be restrained, dude.
Restream, not restrained. Oh, my God, Barry. Calm down, Barry.
Unleashed, I tell you. We're all unleashed and nobody can stop it. Do you understand? Anyway.
That would have been better if you had the bullhorn.
Yeah, where is my bullhorn, man? Oh, I moved it. Got it. Well, okay, there it is. I see it. Yeah, I haven't broken it out in a long time, man.
Yep. I was thinking the batteries might have been dead or something that you haven't been using it.
Fresh batteries, man. I'm still hoping that there'll come a time in the near future that I get to break it out like live on the streets. It's been so long, man, since I've used it. I should have used it during the shamdemic. But I did show, speaking of restraint, some restraint. I got a lot of inspiration from the guy. I don't know if you remember it or not, but there was a guy in Walmart, and he had a bullhorn, literally, and he was standing on top of like a showcase that they had, an end rack or something, and he was shouting to everybody, the bullhorn, how ridiculous, the shamdemic was and the mask, and they had to escort him out. But man, he got in 4 or 5 minutes of good bullhorn rants before they took him out. It was great. It was beautiful, man.
He didn't bother to pass the bullhorn to you? Oh, my God. I'm kind of disappointed in the guy now.
I wanted to break it out. I had a lot of good ideas during the shamdemic that I never was really able to implement because nobody wanted to be a partner in crime with me. And not that any of it's really criminal, but you know what I mean. It's just a figure of speech.
Thanks for redeeming those censorship sucks in the kick chats. Appreciate you.
Thanks for that.
Those are points they use from the chat itself from coming in.
Oh, cool.
Thank you, Jill, for that $100 super chat. Appreciate it, Jill. Oh, Bob, thank you. $1,000 super chat. We'll take that super chat.
We don't do that. We don't do that stupid chat thing. I mean, super chat
I've
thing.
seen streams like that, though, man.
Yeah.
I have seen those.
Yeah.
Did you ever see what, like,
well, anyways,
RSN,
get 30
I think
seconds.
when they do Trump rallies?
What's that?
It's ridiculous.
I missed
RSN, when they do those Trump rallies, it's like, I don't know, $10,000 an hour or something. I mean, it's just stupid money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would say something, but I know we're getting ready to go live, so I'll just hold it to the
Okay, 5,
See? Told you.
4, 3, 2, 1, and you are back live and on the radio side right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Censorshipsucks Roundtable Radio Show. Wednesday night edition for March 11, 2026. We're having a good old time here, folks. We've got Bullhorn Barry in the house. What's going on, Barry?
Hey, ready to roll, man. Already seems like the first hour is just going by fast.
Let's see here. YouTube. Big, interesting story here. YouTube has now become the largest media company in the world. It surpassed Disney last month after taking in $60 billion last year. So, $60 billion last year from YouTube videos. What a crazy concept. Let's let people upload their own stuff. We don't have to make any content at all. We just let other people upload it, and then people will come and watch it. You don't have to do anything but just provide the platform. People show up, upload their hard-working videos, and boom, you get millions. You're the largest media group in the world now. In 2026, was it like 20 years later?
Yeah, because they were early, They were one of the first ones to do it and do it successfully. So I'm anti-YouTube at this point. They've got so many algorithms in there that you can't even say certain things. And I just saw where they're actually now. Oh, at TikTok as well, I've heard that they're sort of pulling back the potential funds that you can make, which doesn't surprise me. Bait everybody, get everybody excited about it, then pull back a little bit. I mean, YouTube now is just all celebrities and Hollywood and establishment, and I don't search any of that stuff. And yet 60 to 70% of what it recommends for me, which is supposed to recommend what I like, is all that garbage. And one time it actually asked me, it was like an automated thing, do we show you too much celebrity or Hollywood stuff? And I was like, yes, don't do it anymore because I could care less about it. I don't want to see it. It's garbage. And even with them promoting that, you look at like the Holly Weirdos and the Celebtards and all those people that are posting content now, they maybe get 30,000, 100,000, and then in the rarest occasion, they get 1 million. But that pales in comparison to like a grassroots, real YouTube influencer. They're done. They're finished. They got on the board. They waited way too long to get on YouTube. The Holly Weirdos and the celebrities and the musicians, they waited too long. They waited way too long. They should have done it early on. But they're so narcissistic, they didn't think they needed it.
Yeah, and it's just kind of the future. And if you look at, like, say, Timcast, right? He had on Tommy Robinson the other night. And, they had several 100,000, many hundreds of thousands of viewers, contiguously or whatever they call it.
Right? You're live. Yeah, that's not pre-broadcasted. I mean, broadcasted again later, which got more views.
Exactly, yeah. So, and by the time it's done, it'll certainly have well over 1 million views. And the clips out of that will have tens of millions of views. The 5-minute clips, 10-minute clips of Tommy saying this or, Tim saying that. Because they always put a good clickbait title on it and you click it and it's interesting. And, so they're doing laps around someone like CNN that doesn't have that playback feature. You know what I mean? You just get one go, you're live, and then you're done. You know, so they get the audience they get, and then there is no residual. No one's, you know, going back and really looking for their stuff the next day. It's news. You know, it's one of the crux of what I do is that, you know, we make videos that are relevant for a week or so, or two, maybe a month, but then, you know, you go back and listen to the old ones just to see where we were on that stuff back in, 5 years ago or whatever. You know, go to some major event and pull up the show just after that event occurred, and you can hear what we had to say about all that. It's kind of interesting to do, but it doesn't, it's like, a Travel Channel, people will click on your videos for years and years and years. They're timeless, so I don't know, I got a little off track there, but yeah, they're now the biggest media company in the world, and more power to them. I can't say I don't, watch enough YouTube, but
the best thing that could happen.
The
best thing that could happen to YouTube is somebody that is a free speech advocate buy it out. That's the best thing that could happen to, because as it is, it's even the people that have been doing it for years that are not political are complaining. That ought to tell you, how they're encroaching.
Yeah, I don't even know if Elon could buy something like that, though. That's a whole different level. $60 billion in revenue is, I don't know, if you're trading at 10 times, that's 600 billion. You know what I mean? If you're trading at 20 times earnings, that's 1.2 trillion or something. I mean, that's a lot more than what Twitter costs.
Yeah, well, I just think that the systems that are in place, they're outdated, We've seen some of them fall, and we've seen some rise, but not rise completely to the top. Rumble has risen, but I wouldn't say it's risen to the top, but it is a good alternative. But we need to have free speech platforms, and that are for and from and by the people. And if celebtards and Holly weirdos and the corrupt establishment want to post on there too, they can, but they're not going to get any special privileges, and they're going to tank, because that's not what's popular in the paradigm shift right now. The paradigm is shifting away from the old order of corruption and the monopolies, and the playing field is being leveled so that everyone basically gets a free shot at having their voice heard and being, an artist or a creative person. So, hey, it's not going to surprise me if some of these crash hard at some point in time, and or that somebody else does buy them out. But yeah, you're right, it costs a lot of money. And Elon probably would be about the only one who could afford probably YouTube.
Yeah, well, he would have to go in with like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates or something. Now you're getting into a whole different, universe, right? To come up with that's way more than he's worth by any means, right? It's more than Tesla's worth. So, but it's an interesting idea to see something like that actually come out into the open to be owned by somebody like an Elon Musk. I mean, right now though, the world has Twitter, and it's made all the difference in the world. And it's almost enough, Yeah, we'd love the whole pie, but man, at least we got that slice back.
I would completely not watch anything on YouTube if some of the stuff that I watch on YouTube was on another platform. I only watch the stuff that I want to watch on YouTube that I can't find anywhere else. Otherwise, it's BitChute, Rumble, those kind of platforms, free speech platforms, or X, or Minds.com, or whatever, Truth Social.
Yeah, there's some content that, again, I'm thinking of this guy, Ben Watts or something. He just rode his bike across Africa, and he did it in like 25 episodes over the last so many months that he put these things out. And, it was such a fascinating, he rode a pedal bicycle, a mountain bike across Africa, going through trails that were barely there. I'm like, I would be flipping out in the middle of the jungle in Africa, and I can't find the trail. You lose the trail. That's how you die, And it was just gripping. It was really, really good content. And so guys like that, like I say, some of the travel channels, they're just fascinating to watch. They do a really good job, and they bring great content. And yeah, they're not over on Rumble so much.
Yeah. Well, I will say this about Rumble. I've got a really nice 4K, TV. And before, I know that Rumble really wasn't streaming at a very high quality. But man, I would say it's at least 1080p and then of course my TV would upconvert it to 4K, but it looked really good. And again, not everything's going to look good on Rumble. Depends on, what you upload, the source but if you filmed it in good quality and you upload it in good quality, then it's going to play back looking pretty good, which was kind of a downfall to Rumble before. It didn't look as good as, say, YouTube. YouTube streams 4K.
Exactly.
If you have you got 4K on YouTube.
Yeah, you can. I mean, like you say, it depends on how they upload it. But, it's interesting stuff. And I, look forward to seeing this landscape process itself in a much better way than it has in the past. For so many years now, the social media landscape has just been so one-sided. I mean, you had Biden calling them up, screaming bloody, hell into the phone to get them to censor stuff. Hey, man, we called you an hour ago and told you to take down this guy's channel. Why haven't you yet? Well, because he's got 500,000 followers, and, we don't want to just do that. There's repercussions to it. No, do it now.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So, that landscape needs to get cleaned up. And if it doesn't, then, sites like mine are going to pick up the momentum they should have had all this whole time, and take off, take over. So, anyway, let's talk about, I guess, California. Always stuff happening out there. Yamaha just announced that they're leaving. So Yamaha, they make, dirt bikes and stuff and lawnmowers, all kinds of stuff. And they're leaving. They're going to greener grasses. They've been in Orange County for almost 50 years. Now they're going to Georgia. And Georgia couldn't be happier. They're going to give them everything they want. They're going to welcome them with open arms. And, just what can we do for you today? We haven't done anything for you today. What can we do for you today? Yesterday's past. Let's start over. New day in Georgia. So, they're as happy as they can be. And California doesn't just ever seem to care. You know what I mean? They just see these people leaving. They think, whatever. We don't need them. We don't need them. They can take their tax base and get out. They're going to be voting here soon on whether or not they should tax billionaires 5% of their wealth. A one-time tax. They'll never do this again. They'll just do it the once. Of 5% of their entire net worth, which is ridiculous. It is. Assets aren't liquid like that at those levels. You've got money tied up in companies. You've got this, you got that. Sure, you come up with money? Yeah, but you're probably going to have you and many, many, many people on your board that are subject to this tax have to sell lots and lots of shares of your stock to make it happen. So by the time you sell all those shares, they're not going to be worth what they were. So you're not worth what you were. And so guess what? You sold too many shares because the stock went down because you all had to sell shares. That's how it works. So, I mean, not that I feel pity for billionaires or whatever, but at the end of the day, if you want their taxes, you have to treat them fair. If you don't treat them fair, you're not going to get their tax money. They're going to go to Florida where they know this will never happen. Heck, they're trying to get rid of property tax in Florida. No income tax. I mean, you go there, if you're making big money, you go to Florida and you start picking up that tab immediately. I remember living on the California border in Nevada, in Northern California. And, the difference in property tax alone was close to my mortgage. It's a giant financial disadvantage to be in California. The income tax and all that, you add it all up and you're screwed. So I don't know, man. I don't know how they don't see this. In Seattle, they're losing. The founder of Starbucks is leaving and taking a large part of the company with him to Florida or Tennessee. I think Starbucks is moving to Tennessee. He and his family are moving to Florida, if my memory is correct from the article I read a couple hours ago. And again, they're looking at adding a new additional 9.9% income tax to anyone who makes over $1 million a year. Okay, sounds like a lot of money, but in Seattle, is that really a lot of money? Suddenly you're crossing over the 50% threshold, where 50% of what you make goes to the government. And what do they do with it? What do they do with it, man? They just piss it down every hole they can find. It's so frustrating. And so, yeah, people are going to leave. I don't know. What do you say, Barry?
Well, you have to ask yourself why they don't care that people are leaving. And I think that answer is actually quite obvious. They believe that the pendulum is going to swing back their way. I don't know how they expect that to happen, because in the polls, they're not doing very well. Maybe they plan on stealing again. And then once they take the power, they'll do just like Biden did, rule with an iron fist. And, you know, the left is so fraudulent in so many different ways. Remember when Trump was like scolding CBS or whoever it was that was, you know, dealing with Jimmy Kimmel and saying you should get rid of him because he was lying. He was, you know, misrepresenting and stuff. And then the left was like, oh, he wants to censor. And I'm like, shut up, man. You do realize that you said nothing when Biden was the president, and he was the censorship king of all presidents ever in our history.
Yeah, that was Tallarico from Texas in the primary down there. He wanted to have him on the show, but the executive said, hey, if you do that, you also have to have Jasmine Crockett on so they both get airtime. You can't just pick one and bring them on the show. You got to bring them both. And that was the censorship thing that he blew up into somehow being Trump's fault. Yeah, and it completely had to do with the Democratic primary in Texas. I mean, to put that on Trump is kind of like, you got to be a special kind of dumb to think people are going to believe that.
Do you think that the left has, do they think that we've forgotten how tyrannical they are and how tyrannical Biden was, how tyrannical Kamala was acting and talking? I mean, do they think we've forgotten that? I mean, the very idea that they would, you know, they have no position to judge, you know, especially on something minor, when they literally were, like you were saying, Biden was calling people up to say, cancel, censor, shut him down, take him off. I mean, that's a dictator, dude. That is violation of our most prized First Amendment. Think about it. It's not the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment. It is the first and most prized amendment, free speech. At least that's part of the First Amendment.
Absolutely, to trample on it. And they would say, they'll jump through their, you know, loopholes to say, well, no, we believe in free speech. It's just, this is, you know, XYZ platform, and, you know, we dictate the rules here or whatever. But at the end of the day, no, it's free speech, man. You got to let people debate openly. If you don't let people have those conversations, then no one can air things out. You know what I mean? It's just someone will say X is true, and then no one can debate that forever. How does that work? You know, somebody likes communism, somebody likes capitalism. Let them go down to the pub on a Friday night in front of everybody and have the big debate. You know, we'll make a big thing out of it and, right, turn it even into a drinking game if we need to, or to have fun with it, right? But let's have the debate. Let's get it out there so that people can hear both sides and walk away and have their own debates later, and then come to a educated decision as to what you truly believe, not just being spoon-fed from CNN what you're supposed to believe.
Yeah, and if I can add,
and I'll tell you, go for it.
I was just saying, if I can
no, you go.
A quick little point here. Something we talked about, you know, during the debate period. Remember when the liberal fake news media was literally putting out article after article saying, we may not have any debates this time. This may be the first time ever that we don't have any presidential debates. Remember that? And with
Trump and Biden?
Yeah. And they were like, because they knew that which proves that they knew that he was, you know, not cognitively able to have a debate. But it's just, I mean, it's just nuts, man. I mean, and they were expecting us, you know, when this is a tradition that's been going on ever since we've had the debates. I mean, we've always had debates. It's just been the American way to say, oh, we're not going to possibly have debates. And I guess they were trying to use different reasons why, like maybe another virus could happen or it wouldn't be safe. I don't even remember what the reasons were, but what good reason could there possibly be? You know,
I think Joe was saying at the time he's just not worth debating. All he's going to do is lie and make a tantrum and, you know, yada, yada. I'm not going to get on stage with him. He's a child.
That was part of it, yeah, which is just an excuse, basically.
Yeah, and then he had people in the background, probably like a James Carville or someone saying, "Why wouldn't he do this? That's stupid. He'll eat his lunch. Biden will eat that guy for lunch." And look what happened. Look what happened.
Did you see his
It was
latest
the most, like,
Carville's latest video
it's
where he broke down?
yeah, the video where Biden starts rambling and Trump's like, I'd reply to that, but I don't know what he said. I'm sorry, I just don't know what the man said. It was nonsense. And that was the most pivotal. You talk about Mondale and the yeehaw, or what's his name, getting in the tank and driving around like an idiot. But that moment was truly the most devastating political moment for anybody in American history, really. I mean, and especially in any debate, I don't think any debate has ever had a more significant turning point in it. The biggest one I can think of is when Reagan turned his age and energy levels against his opponent. Said, I'm not going to hold your youth and inexperience against you.
Right. Yeah. Well, he's clever, witty. And Biden wasn't really clever or witty, and they knew that. And so they were making up excuses like that. Like, I won't debate a Republican because they're racist, xenophobe, homophobic, white supremacist, blah, 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 blah. But essentially the main reason they didn't want to debate was because they knew that their ideas were terrible and they really didn't have any platform that could possibly beat Trump's platform of Make America Great.
Mm-hmm. And it resonated. It makes sense. Every level of it just makes sense, Lower taxes, less regulation, get the government out of the way, promote things that make sense, don't promote things that don't make sense, get rid of this DEI crap and all this other, illegal mandates that they were doing with college education entrances and whatnot, and just turn America back into something that you can look at and it makes sense again, where 4 + 4 is 8. And, that's the reality to it versus this imaginary world that Kamala sees in her head that nobody else will ever be able to predict because it's just her vision of what America should be based on whatever she wakes up thinking that day. Dictatorial everything, take away rights, take away religion, take away freedom at every level, at every turn, spy on everybody, on and on and on. It's just such a stark contrast. Make America Great Again is such a simple thing when you compare it to the insanity that is being offered up in opposition, in my humble opinion.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Merkel, there's that new video where he came out and he's basically ranting about Trump. And it's the most insane thing I've ever seen. I mean, from a political pundit, like him, that's as big as he is. And he's literally bragging about having Trump derangement syndrome, and he's swearing and he's cussing and he's drooling at the mouth, foaming at the mouth. I've never seen anything quite like it. Most bizarre thing. He goes, "I'm proud of my Trump drive. I hate the MFer." We couldn't even play this on the radio because he was just cussing every few seconds. But he was basically saying he hates Trump more than anything, and he's got Trump derangement syndrome, and he's proud of it, and blah blah blah. And it's just not a good look for the Democrats, man. When you're completely breaking apart and losing your mind, losing your marbles, and you're losing your wits, that shows, number one, that you're losing and losing badly. And not only that, but you got no class, you got no self-control.
Mm-hmm. No class. That's a good way to put it. That you talk like that. Like De Niro, okay, I get it. You're a tough guy. You talk with the gutter mouth, and every other word is the F word. But it's not classy. You know what I mean? I don't think he is a classy guy. Sure, you can put a suit on and dress up nice, but you're not classy. You'll never be classy. Rappaport, same thing. I don't care which side of the aisle you're on, buddy. You're not classy.
Melania's classy.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they get clicks. They know how to get clicks. Got to give them that.
Yeah, I just think they're tanking the Democrat Party even more. So I guess I should be thanking them. I mean, even if Trump ends up doing poorly, and doesn't meet our expectations, MAGA is going to keep winning because the left has nothing, man. If the only way the left could win was if they came in and they basically took the Trump policies and said, we're going to refine it and shape it, and then they were serious about it. But they're not. They're globalist Marxists, socialists, authoritarians, and they proved that during the Biden regime.
Yeah, I mean, if a Gavin Newsom or someone gets up there and says, "Hey, man, the border was shut down, and I now that I see it was really good for America that we did that," and would you even believe him though? Would you even believe him?
No,
never. You're going to open that puppy up the second you win the election. You're going to do a speech like Biden did. I want you to surge the border, is what he'll say.
Well, even Democrats don't like Gavin Newsom. I think it was Stephen Smith, the ESPN guy. He was being interviewed by Sean Hannity. And, of course, he still wants 2 Democrats to win, Shapiro and some other guy that he mentioned he would vote for. But he said, if they don't run, he goes, I would choose Mark Rubio over every other Democrat. And then Sean Hannity says, over Gavin Newsom? He goes, absolutely. So people get it, man. Nobody's going to vote in a tyrant authoritarian like a Hillary Clinton, a Gavin Newsom, a Kamala Harris, a Joe Biden. I mean, we know the types, dude, that the establishment props up because that's who they want in control, because they want us under their control. And they hate the fact that we are rising up and there's a massive freedom movement and a massive great awakening. And that is why they keep propping up psychopaths.
Mm-hmm. On that note, folks, we're going to take a break. This is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, and we'll be right back after this.
All right. We're on radio break.
Great transition.
Yeah.
That was the smoothest transition you've ever given me.
Yeah. He must be watching the clock.
I can sense it.
I mean, you gave me exactly 5 seconds. You summed up perfectly on point, and you still left me 5 seconds to take us off the air. That was brilliant.
That was great.
I don't know how, man.
Cheers.
Yeah.
That's why they're lunatics. Silence. I was like, oh, yeah. We'll be right back, folks.
After this. Oh, yeah. Welcome in, welcome in, everybody.
I got yawn.
Whew. Told you it was going to be a good night tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell right when we started, and Barry was like riled up.
All right, man. I'm back.
Yeah. Where's my coffee?
Um,
in front of me. Okay. I got it.
Just making some coffee for everybody in the kitchen.
In the kick chat? All right. Cecilia, I love you, girl, for bringing everybody coffee in the kick chat. You are the greatest. And so is the Great Conspiracy, by the way, for restreaming.
Yeah, it's a great conspiracy for sure.
It's got some interesting content over there on his channel. Check it out when we're all done. All right, not now, because you're going to see us over there right now.
Is Great Conspiracy on social media as well, like X or Facebook?
If he is, he can drop it in the chat, and I'll give it to you. I know that he's on DLive as well as Kick, and I believe Rumble? He might be over on Rumble, too. Did you guys get rain yesterday? Up there where you're at, Barry?
Nope.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had tornadoes, man. Didn't you see in the news?
No, I didn't see that, but we got some rain down here, though.
Wow.
Yeah,
you don't take around with tornadoes over there either, do you?
No, man. When the sirens went off, I went outside and took a picture, and it was pretty ominous looking, man.
You can post those pictures in chat, and I'll put them up.
Let's see if I can find it. I'll do it.
Yeah, and you get like major tornadoes there, don't you? I mean, it's not. They don't like stick around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a couple months early though, but you know it. We had some. They didn't touch ground in Tulsa.
Coming in like a lion.
The sirens went off every 10, 15 minutes for like 2.5 hours because they were spotting them. The funnel in the air. Yeah. None of them were really near my neighborhood, so you know they were like take cover now. But dude, when you live in Oklahoma, you're used to it, man. I don't take cover until it's like coming down the street, and then I'm ready.
Okay.
All right. Boxy's been my biggest supporter here lately. He's always in here, even when I do the music stream. Thank you so much for all the support. I really appreciate you anytime you come in. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, do I upload it in the chat or do I upload it? Yeah, here.
Yeah, just drop. Oh, yep. And we'll be right back when we get the new room up. All right? But until then, you can catch Barry's stuff up here in just a few minutes. He'll put it in the Kick chat. Not the Kick chat, but the... he'll put it in the chat for... that we have going. Let me get that, tweak us back over. Hopefully, I'm going to tell him to drop it here.
Okay.
Drop it in our chat.
I dropped it in there.
In our stream chat.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where I said drop here.
I see
and
it,
then,
yeah.
And then you can just drop and drag it, and it'll put it up. We got about 4.5 minutes, and then we'll be back. Or less.
I don't do emojis enough.
I don't see it yet, Barry.
I'm working on it.
Okay, I'm going to switch us back over to the main deal, and you let me know when.
What main deal?
You know, where people can see your icon. You know, your avatar for the chat.
Are we not in the chat we're going to be in right now? Or
yeah, we are. We are, but I have to switch it over on OBS so that folks, you know, can see you. Well, see your avatar in blue up there.
Did you get the photo?
Hold on, let me see. No, it didn't come through over here. You dropped it in the wrong deal.
I did it in this room. In the chat. I just clicked the chat in this room that we're in. Here, see if you see this. Did you see I typed in hello?
No, you're not in the right chat.
I'm in the chat that has the room we're in. I don't know how that's...
Right here. It's a drop here, right here.
Yeah, drop here, right here. I see that.
That's where you got to drop and drag to.
But I don't see any images.
Nope, me either.
If you open up the chat, you'll see it.
No, that's in a different chat. Room. Or deal.
No, there's a chat button for this room that we're in right now. And I clicked it. What are you...
Just pretend like you see it.
Yeah, okay, wow, that's cool, Barry.
There you go.
Oh my God, the massive damage that thing could have done. Oh man!
There's a button that says share content. No, that's something different. That's the page.
No, you don't. Yeah, no, you just drop and drag the picture over. or copy the picture and paste it into that deal. That's it.
What deal are we talking about?
Where it says, put it right here.
Right here. Right here.
Okay, I'm in the room where I see everybody's avatar and your video. And at the top,
that's the wrong thing. I mean, go up to... Never mind, Barry. We'll do it a different time. You can send me those later. No, I'll post them up, okay?
Well, it's in the chat, so it's in both chats. Should be able to find.
Which... I don't see it.
Back in my day, we had to put it in the mail to share a picture.
That's right. Sorry, Cecilia, I didn't see your message earlier on Teams, but I do see it now. Yeah, we are live.
We're always live, baby.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
If it's
That's
Wednesday
good,
or Sunday,
Karen, for an
we're
old man,
live.
Boxy. That's a great thing. We all get old and hope someone takes care of us at some time.
I would just put the picture in the mail and mail it, and he'll get it in like 4 days.
Well, anyways, we're under 30 seconds, by the way.
You kids think 4 days is too long.
That's
But it's not.
Hey, Uncle Chuck.
4 days is nothing.
Oh, my God. You got a little horse on that last one. Okay.
Yeah.
3,
Yeah.
2, 1, and you're live right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hour 2 of the Censorship Sucks Round Table Radio Show. Wednesday night edition for March 11, 2026. I'm getting ahead of myself. With me tonight, we've got in the house the one, the only, the man of the hour, Bullhorn Barry. What's going on, Bullhorn Barry?
America, man. Just, the storm. We're still in the storm. You know what I mean? We're still in this crazy storm. I'm just hoping it'll end sooner than later.
We are in the storm. You are correct, sir. And it's getting interesting. I hope this Iran thing ends very, very quickly. I hope we don't have to do much more at all over there. If that happens, I will be a happy man.
Agree.
I don't want this thing to drag out. If it drags out, he's going to lose my support over time. If we're in it by election time, then forget about it. His second term is over. He'll be impeached nonstop the whole time. And if he loses the House and the Senate, he might even get impeached, which I still don't think 2/3 of them would do it, but I also don't know what's in the Epstein files. So...
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. I don't see it happening. It's Trump wants to leave a legacy. His legacy is not going to be, I got impeached for a third time. That's not going to be his legacy. And he did announce that, we're going to go ahead and, he didn't say, he just basically said that it's coming to a close and that we're ahead of schedule. And I get it. He said it maybe would be 7 to 10 days or a couple of weeks, but he quickly said, probably 4 to 6 weeks. And he's saying we're on schedule. It's been 12 days. Exactly. So,
yeah.
I think it's going to end pretty soon. I just hope that when it ends favorably, not just for America, but for Iran and the world at large as well. Like, I want to see Iran free because no president that I know of would be able to do something like that. Anytime we've ever supposedly freed another nation, at least in recent history, they had that whole thing when we went into Iraq. It was literally called in the mainstream media Freedom Iraq. And they had the big 3D graphics spinning around that we're freeing it. And Iraq didn't get freed, man. They're still worse off, right? Their schools didn't get rebuilt. They don't even have electricity still to this day. Their dollar ain't worth squat. So, because they just go into nation building and make money and don't really help the nation. So if he actually helps Iran out to where they can put somebody in there that's not a dictator, man, that is a win. And that sets the precedent for every single president after. Look, this is what can be done. This is what should be done. If you are going to go into a nation, you go in with good intent and you get out as quickly as you possibly can.
Yeah. And there's talk of now bringing the Kurds in, Kurds, the Kurds from, they kind of like their own country in that region. It's mostly in Iraq, but they kind of have their own country. And it's funny. You'll see a YouTuber, in the last couple of years, they're saying, we're going to Iraq. And you're like, dude, what are you, nuts? And then you find out it's this Kurdish Iraq. It's a section of it that's actually pretty safe and beautiful and nice, but very, very different cultures, religions, you name it. It's a very different society. There's not a monolith over there. There's a lot of different cultures, and they're trying to hope to use them to sort of kickstart the revolution on the ground. Use them as their boots on the ground. Give them everything they need, to be powerful enough to go in there and put up a fight if they can get more people on the ground to fight with them. And if that sort of a coalition is what ends up coming out ahead here, then there's going to be beautiful things, in the future for Iran. It's a crazy country. It's got all kinds of amazing aspects to it. There's a ski resort just north of Tehran in the mountains there.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go skiing, if you live in Tehran, you want to go skiing on some given weekend, you just drive away. It's not even that far, which people wouldn't think of that. You think desert and sand, but there's mountains with snow right there.
Yeah. Well, they're rich in resources as well.
Very. It used to be a vacation hotspot back in the 70s, and 60s. If you wanted to go somewhere exotic, you'd go to Persia, and it could be that again. It'll take a while, but it could be that again. It's up to them.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, I understand that, maybe the whole thing is somewhat debatable and questionable in a lot of people's minds, even those on the right. What I don't understand, though, is all these people on the right just going massive doom and gloom and just asserting outright, Jimmy Dore, even Alex Jones a little bit now, asserting that the war is going to be a long-term war and it is going to lead to World War III. In fact, one of the headlines on Infowars.com, and I say this I like Alex Jones. I'm just pointing this out that a lot of people are leaning towards the doom and gloom, and they lack faith and that everything's going to pan out okay in the end. But literally, one of the headlines at Infowars.com, it said, and I'll read it: "Must see Alex Jones interviews Jimmy Dore in explosive must-watch end of the world interview." And Jimmy Dore literally gets up there and says that Trump is actually worse than Kamala, Biden, and Obama because he's got us in World War III, as if it's already happened. No, we're not in World War III. We're not going into World War III. Most likely this is coming to a close. Even Pete Hegseth said that we're not going into nation building, right? We're just going to get the job done and make the world safe. Now, whether or not you think that's the reason they did it, I understand that's up for debate. But Trump's not like Bush and like the other presidents that just want to go into nation building and destroy nations and balkanize. He wants to actually heal. He wants to actually make the world safer. Is he right or wrong? That's debatable.
Yeah, I mean, we had Dick Cheney in there just, running Halliburton, like just the cash machine. You could just see it churning in the background, and Trump does not have that that we know of. It doesn't seem like you can't buy the guy. Let's just put it that way. He's never been someone you could buy because he can buy you. You don't buy Trump, he buys you, right? It's kind of the way he looks at it. And think about it. I mean, the guy already owns like the top golf courses all over the world. He's got Mar-a-Lago. He's 70-some years old. What does he need? As long as all those things are just keep running for the rest of his life, he's the happiest man you could ever be. He's going to golf more than any retired man in the history of golfing, and more power to him. But to think that he's someone you can buy off is part of the reason I like him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think he means well. I am concerned that maybe sometimes the wrong people are whispering in his ear. But, it doesn't look like it's going to be a long-term thing. Trump seems to be completely against that, as, I kind of thought was the case because I said on the air that the long-term war does not match the Trump that we know from 2016 to 2020 and from 2025 up until now. So it would be a deviation from who he is, which a lot of people say he has deviated, and they're abandoning Trump. And I think that's a bad idea. I think, like we said on the show when the conflict started, let's wait and see how this thing pans out. It may pan out really well for everybody. We'll have to wait and see. Trump has a way of having a Midas touch.
Yep, and John Solomon over at Just the News, justthenews.com, came out with Steve Bannon today and spoke some fire, really spoke some fire. He said, I'll just quote him here. Quote, John Solomon, quote, "Now, over the next 10 days, Steve, we're going to have a lot more. For the first time, we're going to be able to start processing these documents, a large body of evidence in the intelligence community that raises concerns about foreign interference in our election that will probably come at the end of this week or early next week. The documents are explosive. They're really remarkable. And what's most remarkable is that all of this has been kept from the American people, possibly from the President Trump himself in some cases. Until recently, of course, when his team told him, I think there's a lot there." I'll continue. "And in between these things, we're going to reveal another code-named FBI investigation that targeted President Trump, one you've never heard of before, one that may be among the most troubling. Of course, you have Crossfire Hurricane, Plasmic Echo. We have the third one that targets January 6th investigation, Arctic Frost. There's another one that is truly deeply troubling. It's troubling to the FBI. It's troubling to the intelligence community. It seems to involve speech delimiters. In other words, if you'd said something or spoke a certain way about a specific issue, you potentially were deemed a national security threat to the United States, and you were put under an assessment and potentially a criminal investigation." Mm-hmm. And he goes on to say that he learned of this because he was targeted in 2022. And he had to cooperate and go through all these hoops and whatnot. But there it is. Recently, FBI agents working for Kash Patel found this operation. They found the skip where it was hidden, found code-worded name for it, located and prohibited access file. Chris Wray's people did this. They would start these political investigations targeting Trump or even someone else, and they would keep it off the books. Most people could not see it in the FBI Sentinel system. Folks, next week, look for explosive documentation. John Solomon is one of the most respected reporters out there. If he's saying this, it's coming out of Tulsi Gabbard's office. Believe it. Believe it and get ready. It's coming. So, folks, in the next week, we might see some really explosive stuff. Now, he's talking mostly about foreign operations, but a lot also about the FBI, the CIA. So there's going to be a combination, but it seems also that some foreign powers were heavily involved in this as well, to degrees, who knows. But, wow.
It's amazing.
What say you, Barry?
Well, we covered about how they, found the burn bags. Remember that? And I'm kind of contended over and over and over again that, it's really hard to get rid of criminal evidence these days. Because even if you bleach it out, like if it's data, it can be recovered most of the time. And in that particular article, I remember that I think they were talking about how Gabbard was finding like documents hidden in safes in offices. I mean, just like in different places where I guess they thought nobody would ever look, or maybe the Democrats were just so narcissistic they didn't really think they had to secure this stuff because they thought it was a shoo-in that Biden or Kamala was going to win because they were going to steal the election. I mean, that's the only thing I can think. Either that or they're just kind of careless. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the Democrats and globalists are a little bit careless and reckless at times. They're very maniacal and they're very strategic in ways, but they're also a little sloppy, because they're they put it in. They put it in burn bags, right? So maybe they did think it was burned. Maybe they did try to get rid of this stuff, and maybe a whistleblower, got in between there and said, you know what, let's just not send this down to the burn room quite yet. Let's put it in this closet over here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. As leverage, as power when it's needed the most down the road. Oh, yeah, that's a good point, man. I mean, and that's what I contended about the Epstein stuff. I said that the Epstein stuff is not gone. Even the 100 terabytes we just found out about that the Joe Biden FBI basically deleted and got rid of, is probably still somewhere, because that's information that's probably being used, as you said, as blackmail. So somebody has it. So it just has to get from that person or that place into the right hands. And that's where whistleblowers come in hand. And I've been talking about whistleblowers. We're going to see more and more whistleblowers emerge as the tide turns more away from the totalitarianism and, towards making America great again. We'll see more whistleblowers emerge because they're not going to be as scared to come forward. So all that stuff is out there, man. It's out there. It's just a matter of getting it into the right hands. And then a week after I said that, they released 3 million Epstein files out of the blue.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's a lot of truths are going to be coming out here, and I hope that it all culminates on July 4th with, like, every half hour there's a perp walk of someone.
Oh, yeah.
It's just an all-day event where we eat hot dogs and, drink beers and watch the perp walk at the top of the hour and then at the bottom.
If they could live stream it, it'd be the biggest live stream event ever.
Yeah. And up next, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Nancy Pelosi. She's wanted for these 5 crimes: insider trading, sedition,
treason.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It would crash the whole system down, because it worldwide people would do that.
Uh-huh. Oh, it'd be amazing if they could, do it. Hey, we got it all. Let's just do it. Let's make 4th of July really special this year, and bless all the MAGA country, everybody out there with perp walks all day, starting at midnight, going till midnight the next night.
Golly. And then fireworks going off, celebration of the restoration of America, our 250th anniversary, all just happening simultaneously. Mm-hmm. I mean, I did say that Trump is going to strategically make some moves right before our 250th anniversary. I mean, that's only logical, dude. That's strategic. And wouldn't it be great if what you're saying is true? I mean, it's definitely a pipe dream and us fantasizing, but still, man, it's good to fantasize like that every now and then, just to imagine it.
And I bet you if I tried to open that up on a prediction market, people would probably start throwing money at it.
Because people want it. People want it so bad they're willing to believe it.
Dude, I bet $5 on this one. It was 1,000 to 1. Let's go.
Yeah.
Anyway, in San Francisco, there's a post that came out today from, J.J. Smith. I'm not going to read his whole name on X, but 1:45 p.m., 6 in Mission. These people are paying people $5 to sign a ballot, but as you watch the video, they're telling them what name to sign, and it's someone else's name, and what address to write. Seems kind of suspicious to me. Why not sign your own name? And you can hear people doing it actually twice. Okay, so a pretty substantial line here. There's, 40 some people in this line. And you go up to the front. I'm not going to play the video because there's profanity and whatnot in it. But as you get to the front, they're telling people sign this name. One of the names that they used there was Carol Sanders, and what city, So this is a real person. I'm sure Carol Sanders exists, and she lives in probably the very city that they're mentioning. And I bet it's a surprise to her that people on the streets are signing her name on a petition and getting $5 for it. And then they go back, get in the back of the line, go through it again. So you want to sign 10 of them? Go for it. They don't care. It's blatant fraud out in the open on the streets of San Francisco in broad daylight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's as illegal as can be. And these people need to go to jail for a little while. This is very illegal. You're messing with our government,
You're messing with the will of the people. That's what they're messing with. They're messing with freedom. They're messing with, we get to decide who are our representatives. Not them. We do. We the people.
Yeah, and if people, if you have a good petition, go get it the old-fashioned way, man. Earn it. If that's such a good idea and you believe in it so much that you want to see it get on the ballot, then go for it. Go out there and sell it in front of a Kroger's or some grocery store or whatever. Go out and make your case at a gas station. Get those signatures from real people who say, you know what, I love what you're saying. Let me sign. Where do I sign up?
Mm-hmm.
But to do it like this,
realistically speaking, maybe the big move that Trump makes is just, the disclosures that Gabbard and all these investigations into the voter fraud for 2020? Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, and 2022 and, all over the place, really.
That could be the big move. And sort of maybe indictments could follow.
Mm-hmm.
Already some people have been arrested for voter fraud, so it's,
yes.
and the left keeps saying, oh no, it's the most honest ever, like nothing ever happens, but there's been plenty of arrests.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of arrests since 2016.
In 2020, someone made the call to have the voting shut down in several different states simultaneously. Right? They blamed it on the water leak in Georgia. And they said, guys, go home. We're done for the night. We're going to pick it up at 8 a.m. sharp. Be here at 8 a.m. sharp. We're going to pick it up then or start counting again. What happened? I went to bed. I woke up the next morning and they found 1 million votes overnight when they said they weren't going to be counting. They were counting. They found millions of votes magically overnight when all the watchers, all the people that were supposed to be making sure it was legit were gone. They sent them home. Somebody made that call. Whoever did that is the one I want to see doing a perp walk. Whoever made that call said, yeah, you know what? We're losing by too much, guys. Go to plan B, emergency action right now. Shut it down. That person needs to be in jail. This is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Awesome. We're on radio break.
Tell it like it is, John. Tell him.
Yeah.
Felt the
And
passion.
right to radio break. I love it.
I felt it. It felt real. It's true. I want to see him.
Somebody made that call, man. That's a real person that did that.
Of course. Of course. I just would like to see how it's all connected together.
Nah, it was Skynet that made the call.
You talk about the international involvement in the voter fraud. Well, if that's the case, how is the international aspect of it tied to us domestically? I mean, that would be the reason if you're working with a foreign nation to undermine America, right? That's treason, dude. I mean, I don't see how you could see it any other way. So, and of course, a lot of people believe some of these Democrats are in bed with China. So that would not surprise me.
Exactly. And you can't convince me in a million years that Russia wanted Trump in office, or that China wanted Trump in office. That was their worst nightmare.
He's so hard on Russia. And the only reason Putin tolerates it is because Trump is tough. And he respects him. And if not respect, he reveres. You know what I mean? He reveres him because he knows that Trump doesn't play around.
Yeah.
And, if you're a guy like Putin and you look at someone like Kamala or Biden that's just a puppet, you don't respect them. You have no respect for it. And that's why, they advance.
Yeah, well, you can railroad them.
What's that?
You can railroad them, so there's no need to. You just, you own them. They're weak. They'll do what you say. Look at how Obama rolled over to Tehran and gave him pallets full of cash. I mean, instead of saying no nukes for you, he said, yeah, go for it, and here's money to boot.
Yeah. Well, like they say, all roads lead back to Obama. I don't know. We'll find out if that's true or not, I think. I mean, and what's crazy is he's still out there plugging away, giving speeches, pretending like he's like some honorable president, former president. I mean, the guy
you got to play the part. You know what I'm saying?
That's what he's doing. He's definitely playing the part. But I don't know, man. He's aged quite a bit. I think he's sweating. I think he's sweating because he's the one being blamed, according to our own administration, Trump's administration. He's the one behind the whole Russia collusion delusion. He's the one, that was behind the spying on Trump.
Yeah.
I think he's a bad apple, and if he's guilty, I think that he would probably seek asylum somewhere if he knew he was going to be arrested. I don't think he's going to face. I don't think he'll face any trial. He'll run, and he's got enough friends that he could run. You know what I mean? Or he'll run before there's any trials, like long before. Like all of a sudden he's just gone missing on vacation permanently.
30
sort of like
seconds.
Like these celebrities, they're just leaving for no reason, right? Getting citizenship in other countries. What have they done? Epstein, maybe. Oh, we'll see.
Here we go, man. You ready?
Let's rock it.
There goes the mic.
I'm going back now.
And here's your countdown. 5, 4,
Do I have time to pee?
3,
In a
2, 1. Only if you have Willie's pee jug. And you're live and on the radio show right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Hour 2 of the Censorship Sucks Round Table Radio Show, Wednesday night edition, March 11, 2026. Bullhorn Barry, how you doing, man? Have you heard the good news, man? This 4th of July, the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. This year, 4th of July, be there, be square. They're going to be having fireworks at Mount Rushmore. Yabba dabba do. I love it.
Yeah, and that's before they put Trump's face up there as well.
That's coming. They might even start etching it out on like the 3rd or so, get it ready. And then they could maybe project up his picture there for now just so we can all see what it looks like,
Oh, they got some
feel for it.
like laser technology. It'll be done like in 1 hour. They'll just etch it right in there in an hour, live stream it so everybody can watch it. Democrats will lose their minds and Republicans will just shout for joy.
Could you imagine if I don't even know if they have that technology. It wouldn't shock me if they did, just to literally be able to etch that thing out in like a 1 hour show.
Oh, man. It would drive Democrats insane.
I would think it would drive a lot of people insane, man. Even some of his supporters would be like, whoa, we're not going to talk about this at all? You're just going to do it live on TV?
Yeah.
Yes, because I'm the president and you're not. I can do that. I have that power.
Some Democrat probably hacked the laser machine and give Trump this giant big head.
Yeah, let's give him tiny hands.
Tiny hands and a big head because he's so full of himself.
Speaking of elections and all this other stuff, Donald Trump is pushing the SAVE Act hard. He's saying he's not going to sign any legislation that comes across his desk until he signs the SAVE Act. What is the SAVE Act, you might ask? It includes sections regarding trans-identified males in women's sports and sex changes for women. Quote, we want voter ID, he said. We want to be able to see a picture of the voter. We want to be able to see that the voter is legitimate. We want, very importantly, confirmation that this voter is a citizen of the United States. And we want no mail-in ballots. He said, adding that there are exceptions to certain people, obviously if you're injured, out of town, whatever, things like that. But, and then he's added 2 more things to it. No men and women's sports and no transgender mutilization of our children. We don't want it. It's mutilization of our children. We don't want that. We're adding those 2 things. That's the 5 points. So he's got 5 points he wants in there. I would like to get rid of these counting machines too. I think that should be part of this. Absolutely. I would even strip out the gender stuff because it doesn't really belong in this bill and put in no more counting machines.
There you go.
Or if you want to use counting machines, we got to count them by hand afterwards just to make sure they're right.
There you go.
Kind of defeats the purpose, but hey.
Well, it's widely believed the reason that the Democrats are opposed to it is because if we get that and elections are fair, it changes the whole map of America from red and blue to pretty much red. I mean, that's what people are saying. I mean, obviously some areas in California and a few places will still be blue, but places that where it's sort of go either way, it's all red, man. All red. And this is what scares them. They don't want fair and honest elections. That is my 100% belief based on all the evidence.
I believe it too. And just look at how they're acting. Now, I'm going to show you a clip from Hakeem Jeffries here that is this personified. I mean, it's them saying the quiet part out loud. Okay?
Oh,
and it
yeah.
has to do with DHS, which you haven't talked too much about DHS and the shutdown now. The government's been shut down now for a while, right? For a couple of weeks. And it's the Department of Homeland Security while we're at war. Is shut down by the Democrats because they want to. Well, let's hear from them what they want.
Yeah.
Listen to this, man. It's shocking.
Great. It is.
Completely and totally out of control group of people. It's the reason why we are in a DHS shutdown right now, because Republicans have refused to agree to the type of bold, transformative, meaningful, and dramatic reforms we are demanding in order for the Department of Homeland Security funding bill to move forward. And I won't go through all of the demands, much of which we've talked about repeatedly in the public, but one of those demands is keep ICE out of sensitive locations. And we've defined that as schools, houses of worship, hospitals, and polling sites. We want an explicit prohibition that ICE can go nowhere near any polling sites in the United States of America. It's one of our demands. We're not going to bend on it.
I'm sorry, what? Did I hear that right, Barry?
Yeah.
Their biggest demand is that ICE can go nowhere near polling places. He said it twice. Said there's a lot of things, but I'm going to talk about the big ones. Okay, schools, hospitals, place of worship. Okay, fine. But polling places? What are they even going to do there? There's no foreign, no illegals voting, is there? What are they even going to do at a polling place? It's all Americans, right?
Yep. You got that right.
Interesting. Yeah. Huh. So,
I mean, we don't even have to have proof. Everything that they've done is to basically try to get more voters because they're losing ground in every single way. That's one of the reasons, not the only reason, why the borders were wide open. Like you said thousands of times, you've harped on this nonstop about how they're trying to get Democrat voters, and most of them would vote Democrat if they're giving them thousands of dollars a month and giving them all kinds of free handouts. And
sure,
then
why not?
Not even criminalizing the crimes that they commit, right? Maybe slapping them on the wrist at best. And then if they're a pedophile, a rapist, or whatever, not even turning them over to ICE. I mean, dude, everything they do is sketchy. Sketchy, man.
Yeah.
Sketchy.
And I mean, think about it from like the truly religious, Muslim aspect, right? Where it's like, they're giving us the money, but I hate everything they're about. It's the antithesis. They want to trans kids. They want to have abortion and all this stuff. And you just say, no, honey. No. That's not for us. That's for them. It means there will be fewer of them alive down the road if they abort half their population right now. Oh, okay. It's very smart. Very smart. Yes, I support this. I support abortion in America for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Make it make sense, right? That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Muslims talk about how they, it's totally perfect. Muhammad and Allah says it's totally perfect to adopt the culture in order to take it over. So whatever has to be done, they're okay with that. Like in the Christian faith, you wouldn't want to bribe somebody to further the kingdom of God. I mean, if you're a genuine Christian, you wouldn't want to do shady things. In fact, Jesus said something like, be as innocent as a dove, but as sly and wise and cunning as a serpent. So be smart, be wise, be shrewd, but don't compromise your integrity.
And again, I'd like to get back to that point that, yes, world domination, that sounds crazy. What do you mean they want to take over the world? Every religion wants to take over the world. You know what I mean? If you're Christian, you want to go to, the Middle East or Africa, whatever, you wouldn't go to the Middle East, but, Africa or Asia to prophesize, to convert people, to teach them the word of God and save their souls, right? If you go out and save 1,000 souls in Asia, you can live the rest of your life happy and content that you saved 1,000 people from your perspective. It's the same thing for the Muslim religion. They're bringing people to God in their view. When they go and take over another country and convert everyone by force, then guess what? They're all saved now. It's no longer a world of the damned or whatever. It's now part of what they call the peaceful world. The world that is with Allah, versus the infidel world, which is a world at war. So, yeah, it's not crazy to hear somebody say they want to take over the world. Yes, of course they want to take over the world. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh shit. All right, you are stuck, aren't you? Sorry, my dog gets stuck every now and then. I have to bail her out.
But the main difference between the Christian faith, as far as politically speaking, and the Muslim faith is
Yes.
well, a few things. But one
I know
of
where
them
you're
is
going. Yeah.
most Christians believe in freedom and free will,
Mhm.
free choice. In fact, some of the biggest movers and shakers behind America being founded were Christians. There's this idea of freedom and free speech, and to believe and have be able to speak your mind and move about freely, and not have the government be so intrusive with every little thing that we do. Whereas with the more radical Muslim faith, it's Sharia and it's authoritarian. Just like we see with the women wearing the hijab or the burqa or whatever. The moment they're free, they stop wearing it, dude. Maybe not all of them, but the majority of them do, because they feel enslaved, but they're not going to say that while they're under slavery, because it could wind them up in jail or worse.
Yeah, and the ones that say, well, they'd probably rather just keep wearing it are probably from very conservative families that would. It's a whole other box of worms. You know what I mean? Of why they keep that on.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Right.
there's been honor killings in America, Muslim honor killings in America, where a Muslim father or something kills their daughter because she didn't dress appropriately. It's a documented, folks.
It happens a lot, yeah. See videos on TikTok where they're out there just talking to the camera without any, and then all of a sudden dad or uncle or whatever comes in and just starts beating the crap out of them. You've seen those, right?
I mean, it's scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit,
All
terrified
right.
of these radical Muslims taking over. I think there is a ploy and a plot and a plan, and maybe even tied in with some of the more nefarious globalists. They seem to be the ones that were all about letting everybody come in unchecked, which would bring in the worst of the worst. Seems like to me there's a plan at hand, and it's to bring everybody down so they can take everything over. Bring America to its knees, burn it all down, and then offer the pseudo solution and enslave everybody. And I'm not okay with that.
No, I'm not. We're past all this, man. We're past all this. We left this stuff behind a couple centuries ago. It's ancient history, and it needs to stay there. And we've had the Enlightenment. We've gone through this modern civilization period now, where we should be at a point now with the internet and all this stuff that we're past all this, that we can just be at peace with one another. And the trick is, diversity is our strength, man, is the biggest lie that's ever been told. Diversity is not your strength. It's the biggest weakness you have. I'm looking at you, England, because I could care less about the rest of Europe, basically. England, you need to realize diversity is not your strength. It never will be. It never was, and it never will be, and it's certainly not today. You need to put this restore government up on a pedestal and pray to God that they're there. Nigel Farage is great. He says a lot of the things that we all like to hear, but a lot of politicians out there are good at saying what sounds good at the moment. They never follow up on it. They never really go that next level. Rupert Lowe, I think he's got your best interest in heart, and they've gotten up to 200,000 members now. The Restore has. It's huge. It's like the fastest growing party by far in the history of England. It took Green Party a couple of years to get to this level, and he did it in a couple of weeks. Because people are sick of it. If you embrace this and make it happen, you can have your country back, maybe. It's going to get ugly, but at least it won't be happening on your shores. Because guess what? Just put them back in those little boats, send them back to France, and off you go. Kick them with a cattle prod once they get off, and head south, go that way. And that's it. You're done. Bring the boats back and never let them cross again. Anybody in that country that has views that are radical and against the values of the British culture, kindly ask them to leave. Kindly ask them to leave. You can't have this growth in your country and survive as England. England, for crying out loud. England! My God. We're going to lose it in our lifetimes. We're going to watch it fall apart and within 50 years be just a dark, lonely shadow of itself on a rainy afternoon. Yikes, man.
Yep.
Horrifying to think of that.
It just seems like everything you're saying ties into exactly what we've been saying in this show, and that is that the Democrats have nothing to offer. They are losing ground dramatically. Even if Trump has lost some percentage in the polls, which he has, it's not that dramatic. But a poll just came out by NBC. This is in Breitbart.com. And it showed that Trump was more popular than Stephen Colbert, Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, and AOC by a long shot. In fact, out of the 14 contestants, he came in at number 2. Only the Pope, this Pope that's in office right now, is more popular. And it's only 1% more popular. So you look at the bottom of the barrel. We were talking about Gavin Newsom, before. Even Democrats, I said, won't vote for him. Well, of course not. He's at the bottom of the barrel of this poll. Let me give you the bottom 4 real quick. Iran, 8%. The Democrat Party, 30%. AI, artificial intelligence, is 26%. And Gavin Newsom is right up there with AI at 27%.
Mm-hmm.
Trump,
the Democratic Party is at 30. ICE is at 38. And I think Gas Station Sushi is at 37.
Who?
Gas Station Sushi. They put that in there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Trump's at 41%. And the next closest thing to that is looks like 38%, which would be J.D. Vance.
Mm-hmm.
So
and they worry about Gas Station Sushi, and I'm telling you, it's not that bad. I'm happy to see it up there at those levels because it's good stuff. I mean, there's no fish in there. It's not like it's going to kill you.
It's above Iran right now at 9%.
Yeah.
It's polling a little higher.
But yeah, there's all kinds of good stuff going on in these polls. It's funny because they're trying to demonize ICE, trying to demonize everybody else. But guess what, man? You look like a fool at this point. You've offered nothing. You've offered nothing to us. I mean, spring break is right around the corner, and you've got these 4-hour-long lines that are starting to form at airports because you shut down the Department of Homeland Security. Guess what? Everyone's going to miss their flights this season. It's going to be chaos because of you. We're in the middle of a war. What if people start dying? What if those almost tornado warnings that you had the other day, what if they turned into massive F5 tornadoes that tore apart, half of Tulsa? You got nothing now because they shut it all down for what? Because their demand is that Hakeem Jeffries was asked this. I just played the clip. His demand is that ICE can't go near polling places. Holy crap. That's your biggest concern, is that ICE can't go near polling places? Give me a break, man. That is ridiculous. That is beyond.
Think about how insane all of it is, because ICE is law enforcement. There is no limitation as to where they can go or be. That'd be like saying the police, you can go anywhere you want, but these areas that are on the north side where all the crime is high, you got to stay away from that, man. You just got to let them do whatever they do and let them kill each other, man. Oh, no. Yeah, can't go there. It's absurdity. ICE is law enforcement, legal, lawful law enforcement. And you can't tell the law that they can't go certain places. That is absolutely absurd. It proves that they're lawless. We said it over and over again, that the left is lawless. It's the lawlessness of the left that's causing the leftist hellscapes to become lawless. Look at all the places, all the terrorist attacks are happening, where all the crime is blossoming. It's these leftist hellscapes, and we've been saying this. I've been saying it ever since I've been on this show, that that's where it's mostly going to be reserved to as a general rule. Why? Because they're lawless. They don't believe in upholding the rule of law.
Absolutely not. Not here, because you know what? This is a temporary state for them. The United States as it is today is just a temporary state that's in the way of their ultimate goal, which is to burn down the system, run out of money, build a new one, default on everything, build a new system that will replace the old and be communistic or socialist or whatever you want to call it, happy land, commie land, happy fun land. That will suck. It'll suck. It'll be the end of the greatest experiment the world has ever seen in people living free, successfully, happily, as a country, as a society. America is the greatest thing. 250 years now. It's our birthday, man. It's 250 years. Celebrate it, man. You're alive to see this. It's incredible. And they want to burn it all down so they can put something else in its place that smells of democratic socialism or whatever it is. Be honest, man. Be honest about it, left. The World Economic Forum, go be honest about it. Tell the world what you want to do so they can all see it for themselves and decide if they want this new dystopian takeover of the world. Barry, what do you say, man?
Well, I was just wondering if you meant happy like, the leftist rioters and sometimes violent rioters that dress up in costumes and dance around and act like buffoons and clowns and just jokers. I mean, have you ever seen anything quite like that? I mean, seriously, who could take any of these people serious in whatever movement they have when they're dressing up in the craziest, stupid outfits and dancing around like everything's a big joke? It's ridiculous. Yeah. Absolutely ridiculous.
Remember the Democratic Socialist Convention that they had a couple years ago, and nobody could get a word in because everyone was offended?
That's right.
It was ridiculous. Like, somebody came out and said, you said, guys, can we do this? And I just really think that was offensive because you said, guys, can we keep it down in here? I think you should have said, it was they, them, zems, or hers, yada, yada, instead of just guys. It's sexist. So it's like, okay, all right. That's a precious 1 minute out of our conference time that we'll never get back for anything realistic, It just went on like that over and over and over for the whole day. Everyone was offended about everything.
They got nothing accomplished. And then they had little private rooms that if you couldn't handle it, you could just go in there and have a cup of coffee and get some peace. I mean, dude, these people are weak, man. Yeah. They're weak, so very weak. No wonder they're losing.
Well, and it's not a form of government that's ever going to work, especially here.
Yeah. Well, Trump said we're never going to be a socialist nation. He said it at the State of the Union, remember? That was during his first term. And then they cut to Bernie Sanders, and he was crying like a little baby. Not literally, but he had that look on his face.
Yeah, I saw that. It's I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of out of words, folks. I'm never out of words, but here I am. This country, we've got a chance to fix it, and the SAVE Act, I think, is a big, big part of it. We need to make sure that people who vote here are who they are. That's it. Every country does this, folks. The mail-in ballots are the worst idea ever. As Trump was saying, they did it in France. They realized it was corrupt. It could never work. They got rid of it. He said, Jimmy Carter, who started this whole Iran mess, by the way, looked into it. They had a big study into it, and they said it could never work in the United States. Jimmy Carter, a Democrat, the worst president in history before Biden, who, again, started the whole Iran problem. And, the Khomeini and the hostages and the whole thing. And then guess what? We elect Ronald Reagan, and they let the hostages go the next day, no questions asked. Because they knew Ronald Reagan wasn't going to put up with it. All we had to do was get a new president.
Mm-hmm.
Barry, we got about 2 minutes left.
Have you noticed that anytime there's like a hump or a bump or a heel in the way, all these black-pilled truthers on the right, they want to abandon MAGA, they want to get rid of Trump, and he's failed us and all this nonsense. I just want to say for the record, I'm pro-MAGA and I'm still pro-Trump. I don't agree with everything Trump has done, but I think overall, like I've said from day one back in 2015, that he will do more good than bad. And I'm standing behind the president. That doesn't mean I won't criticize him where I think he's gone wrong, because I will, but I am not abandoning Trump. This is an exodus out of slavery. And I'm not at every single lull and every single bump and hill going to abandon ship. I'm pushing forward with Trump, and hopefully we get the job done. And eventually we get arrests, indictments, and convictions, man. And I'm looking forward to celebrating our 250th anniversary with joy and with eager hope and optimism. Couldn't get that
awesome.
Out in the end.
Yeah, optimism. I love it, man. That's exactly what I think we needed to hear to take out the show. So where can people find you online?
Follow me on X, Bullhorn Barry.
Bullhorn Barry on X, folks. Social. Go on over there. Give him a follow. I am over on minds.com/censorshipsucks, minds.com/censorshipsucks. Folks, make sure to check us out. We got to leave here now. We will see you on Sunday night, but stay tuned. There's much, much more coming from Dragus Productions right after these messages.
Thank you for listening to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. If you missed any of tonight's show, you can find it and others in our archives. Thanks again, and you can catch us next week for another brand new show.